What's good, gang? What's going on? I've been playing Fallout 4 for 2 months now. I started in the middle of November when I got bored of Vegas. I played it for 3 weeks on PS4, and I played it for the past month and a half on PC modded. So I figured I'd go ahead and make a tier list for the perks because that's what everyone who plays this game wants to talk about. Is the perks. I did mod survival, so we'll have to just go about it, talk about it as we go. Um, but yeah, I know it's high CPU. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Um, so I've played through this game a lot. I've tried most of the perks out, and I think the perks that I haven't tried, it speaks for itself. If to you it is disingenuous that I have not tried every perk, what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to look up Fallout 4 perks. And, who is it? It's not showing up. This guy. He's tried every perk. So if you're going to comment that I haven't tried every perk so I can't make this list, go watch his video instead. But I also just think the fact that some perks aren't worth taking in the first place is just indicative of how bad they are as perks. I know that sounds lazy, but I can't be fucked to make a cap collector build. You know what I mean? So with that out of the way, I think we can just talk about it. So there's 5 tiers, and I think we can. It'll be more. We'll feel it out as we go, and we'll rearrange if something feels wrong. But S tier is almost every build takes advantage of this. The only builds that wouldn't are hyper niche, like Twitch challenge runs that Jabo would do, right? Maybe Jabo wouldn't use this for a weird pipe weapon only run or something, but generally always good. Pretty good. Maybe there's something there. It's outclassed. A tier will probably be mostly outclassed. B tier is okay. It's good, but it's not great. And C tier will be it's good, but it's just not. It's a convenience perk. With F tier being perks that I think are so bad that you would only take them if you were trying to get every perk. Which, pretty infamously, depending on how you build your special stats, you have to be, I think, level 280 to max every perk. So these are your level 200 plus perks, is F tier perks. With that being said, we start with Iron Fist, which I'm not sure quite how I feel about it. I think Iron Fist is going to go into B tier, and Big Leagues is going to go into A tier. We had to talk about it at the same time. Because melee and unarmed weapons function pretty similarly, the only difference being the perk effectiveness. Big Leagues and Iron Fist both double your output with those weapons, with the additional benefits being that unarmed has a chance to disarm your opponent, and that VATS criticals will stun them and paralyze them. Whereas Big League's advantage is that outside of VATS, you can hit all enemies in front of you. Sort of like the perk in Skyrim, and I don't remember what the final rank of Big Leagues does. I believe it has a chance to stun. This is why I left this open. Cripple your opponent or grand slam their head off. Yeah. I'll say that strictly speaking, in terms of what the perks do secondarily, I actually think Iron Fist is just better. But you have to consider the fact that you're using unarmed and melee weapons. So, assuming that you're not playing on normal difficulty or lower, you're gonna get ripped to shreds if you try to play melee. So this means that you either have to, and I'm emphasizing that you kind of gotta either invest into chems, VATS, and stealth, or VATS or stealth or power armor. You've gotta you sort of have to like choose like a secondary playstyle to get you through the game if you're going to use a melee skill, or like maybe you back it up with explosives or big guns. But you really do have to choose like something to compensate for the weaknesses of melee. Just because of like the way the damage calculations work, you just take too much damage on anything past normal. Like outside of power armor or VATS, that like you're gonna just get fucked up. That being said, you get some of the craziest damage output on melee weapons, and especially sneak builds, because like you get ninja, which gives you like a 10 times sneak bonus to your melee attacks. But there's a few reasons why I think that Iron Fist is going below big leagues, even though I think the perk effect is stronger. So unarmed can't be used in power armor, which is definitely what you heard coming. You saw that coming, but yeah, you can't use unarmed weapons in power armor. The most you can get your power armor damage up to, I believe, is like 20 or something. Something weird like that, and it's just not worth it. Either way, it's outclassed by unarmed weapons and melee and power armor. And two, I don't know if this is addressed by the unofficial patch or if this has been patched, but it used to be that I think ninja doesn't work with unarmed. So the ninja sneak multipliers only work with weapons tagged for melee specifically. So if you're going to do a stealth build or a power armor build, melee is better. And like outside of that, that just means unarmed is really strong if you plan on taking like chemist and chem resistant. Or like stealth VATS. But like even then, that just means stealth is better with melee. So you're stuck with like basically depending on chems if you don't want to use another weapon type. Now maybe you can like get your endurance up super high in the late levels, and then with like ballistic weave on your clothing, and then like a full suit of heavy combat armor, and like a ballistic weave hat, you can maybe make this work, but it's a lot of investment for melee just simply being better for like the entire game. And like you can get all the perks anyways, so if you're gonna argue like, well, in the late game, unarmed is like slightly better, then like just put every perk in A tier. You know what I mean? Armor, I'm gonna put in S tier. This is also a super obvious, like everyone always says armor is S tier and it's kind of boring, but like it's just kind of how it is. The ability to put ultralight and light, like ultralight effects on your armor is just simply too good. It basically makes any build viable for VATS. You can put pocketed on all your stuff and then dump strength to like just 3, and then you've still got carry weight. You can do muffled or shadowed for stealth builds. Shadowed is so strong that as long as shadowed is active, you don't even need sneak, like the perk sneak, to get away with a stealth build early on. It even holds up late game. Like if you have all 5 of your body pieces like shadowed and then maybe a helmet, probably not though, but all 5 of your body pieces, like shadowed lets you like be a stealth build without any investment into stealth. You can put, I believe it's, I don't know what it's called, but one of them gives you the ability to like tank explosives. So like you can just put I think it's absorption plates or whatever, and just walk on mines and live like at like early levels. You can make melee attacks weaker. I think you can even do one that makes you less likely to get addicted to chems. You can just do all this weird stuff. Now the argument against perks like Armorer and Gun Nut is, well, you can find all the mods anyways, but it's like, that's sort of like saying that you can find a good legendary weapon. Like, are you gonna legendary hunt? And it's like, I don't know, man. I kind of value not doing that. So yeah. There's also the fact that Armor gives you access to higher level ballistic weaves, and the last level of ballistic weave is like stronger than most like heavy variants of full armor sets. And you can put on the military fatigues and the baseball uniform with Ballistic Weave while still getting all of your armor slots. So I like to make fat girls in this game. And my favorite one was always putting on the baseball uniform with shadowed combat armor with Ballistic Weave, and then getting the, I think it was the green rag hat, which also lets you put Ballistic Weave on it. And then you've got like 200 plus armor from Ballistic Weave, like 220 or something, and then an agility and strength boost from the baseball uniform, and I think some energy resistance from the hat. And then you've still got all 5 of your combat pieces, which you can find legendary combat pieces. And stack all of that on top of it while it's shadowed and ultra light. So like with 0 agility investment, I was still having like an insane VATS build because of Armorer. It's like nuts what you can do with Armorer. It is really boring. It kind of sucks that it's also so low, because like this is like probably the best perk in strength. So like, if it was higher, you would actually have to invest to get it, but it's like 3 strength, and it's like, who can't afford 3 strength? Like, even just set it to 1 and then get the bobblehead and then raise it with a point. Because you're probably not getting Ballistic Weave until like, what, level 20-ish? Because you gotta go to the railroad. So it's like, yeah, it's really bizarre. It's so low on the rank. So low on the strength requirement. What is this, Blacksmith? Blacksmith affects your weapon modding ability for unarmed and melee weapons, so it's just Armorer for these weapons specifically, and it also affects the handmade rifle from Nuka World, so it's like marginally better, I think. It directly does upgrade your damage. It stacks with big leagues, because you'll get higher damage output with it, and it also affects a gun, and spoilers, guns are really good, so I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be above big leagues. But it also affects big leagues and Iron Fist. This is Heavy Gunner? Yeah, this is Steady Aim because it's a pistol, and this is Heavy Gunner. Heavy Gunner, I know what this one does off the top of my head. It does double damage at max rank. It gives you a chance to stun enemies with heavy weapons, and it also increases hipfire accuracy. So I tried a few heavy weapons, not much. So if my opinion's like invalid, fine. But like the broadsider just was not feel good to use. The harpoon gun did not feel good to use. Mini nukes and missile launchers are like okay, but on survival mode the ammo weighs too much. The 5mm is actually ammo efficient, but it does no damage. The Gatling laser uses up fusion cores. So you kind of have to dedicate to using a Gatling laser and then nothing else, or else you'll waste cores switching back and forth between your ammo. I think if you get a heavy weapon with the right legendary effect, they become the best weapons in the game. Like a minigun with explosive, or like a Gatling laser with 2-shot, or a mini nuke with 2-shot, or like a missile launcher with 2-shot. Obviously those all become insane weapons. The problem really is that the weapons are heavy, the ammo is heavy, they're like not easy to use. They're like sort of uncommon ammos most of the time, like cannonballs and cryo cells. And for how much you'll use 5mm, 5mm isn't even that common with Scrounger. I was still running out of it. Like I saved up like 3,000 rounds for my minigun, and I still ran out of it in like I think 30 minutes or an hour. You need that much to take down anything unless you have explosive. Gatling lasers are strong though. I was able to kill a Mirelurk Queen in I think like 10 shots or something with a Gatling laser. And for how much you can hold in a fusion core, that's actually really insane. The biggest problem for me is that missile launchers and Fatman, they stack with Demolition Expert, but miniguns and Gatling lasers don't stack with Commando, which is kind of a shame. I feel like if they stacked with Commando and Vanilla, this would easily be like an S tier perk, but because it isn't, it's like it's probably going to go in like A tier above melee weapons. I do think the value of like having guaranteed spawns in the world, like Big Boy and Party Starter, as well as like the Ash Maker and the minigun you get in Conquered, and I believe you can get a guaranteed Gatling laser in the Nuka World DLC. but I wasn't able to find it when I played through Nuka World, but I've heard it, so it. But yeah, ultimately doing the damage some of these weapons do is just too much. Like, Fallout 4 is a very bullet spongy type game because it's still working off of like RPG systems. It just doesn't actually give you any like fun roleplay options. So the enemies are still spongy. So having something like a party starter or a big boy that you can stack this perk and Demolition Expert with to get like multiple thousands mini nuke damage. It is nice in the late game when you like run into those bullet spongy super mutant warlords that have like 2,000 health. It is nice to just be able to one-shot anything in the late game. And like early on, you can do some crazy stuff. This gets more into Basher, but early on, the minigun is actually decent even without ammo. Like early on, kinda, but yeah. And of course, if you get the right legendary effect, any weapon in the game is S tier. I mean, you know. Strongback. Strongback is like the king of convenience perks. Like in normal, I'd say in like in normal mode it's like C tier, but I think in survival it boosts up to like a B tier. I'd rather have this than I think Iron Fist ever. I'm almost tempted to put it in A tier. 50 pounds is nothing. That doesn't matter. But then being able to run while over encumbered and stopping the pain from being over encumbered is nuts. Being able to fast travel over encumbered is also like amazing because it means that you can just play normally and then get to the end of the level and then pick everything up and then fast travel away. Personally, I use weightless ammo, or not weightless ammo, weightless junk mods, but I do think that this is like a cool idea. The idea of being able to carry as much as you want at the penalty of it draining your AP. This would really work very well with like explosive and melee builds. Because like with an explosive build, you're just gonna get over encumbered anyways, so it kind of takes some of the tedium out of never being able to like run with like a missile launcher and like 10 ammo. Whereas for a melee build, this just means that like you can carry as much as you want, and it doesn't matter because you're probably not going to be like using VATS, depending on what your build is. Ultimately, it's kind of a neat idea. I feel like this should just be a baseline mechanic of the game, though. TBH, I'm pretty sure that Fallout 76 actually adopts this as like the way the game works with encumbrance. That's a little different because it's like an MMO, but it makes the game feel better to not worry about ammo. Not ammo, but item weight. While still incurring some sort of penalty on you, so you can't use it with, like, combat, generally. So this is Steady Aim. So Steady Aim, I don't know how to feel about it, because the first thing you think of is that this would make shotguns way better, right? And then just straight up, it doesn't work on shotguns. That's the only type of ballistic weapon it doesn't affect. And it's like, what the fuck, man? It's the whole thing that you would get this perk for, and it doesn't work for them. I used a mod that enabled it to work on perks, or shotguns, but even then it was still pretty underwhelming. Where do we put this? Because okay, I've been recording the mic. I got scared I wasn't recording the mic for a second. No, Steady Aim's shit. It's like 5 damage outside of VATS when you're hip firing. Because you're technically always aiming in VATS. I know this because VATS triggers Nimble, the legendary effect Nimble on your weapons. So where do you put this? You can sort of view it as, like, if you pair it with awareness from the perception tree, you can almost sort of view Steady Aim as ensuring you always have a +5 bonus damage to your weapons. And in the late game, you do want enough damage to the extent to where, like, you would always want bonus damage just because of how, like, beefy enemies get, like, bullet spongy. The, like, level 90 variants and such, and the ones that level with you, are, like, pretty damn bulky. I think that this is in B tier below Iron Fist. This is like a level like 90, like level 100 perk that you're gonna take when you like start losing other ways to optimize your damage. It also works pretty well with Commando and Heavy Gunner because of the hip fire bonuses. I believe with the mod I was using called Heavy Gunner, you could actually, or Heavy Commando, you could actually stack this Heavy Gunner and Commando and become more accurate while hip firing than when you were aiming with your sights, which is pretty crazy. This is Basher. So Basher is like... Basher's probably B tier. It's definitely below Steady Aim. You can create some pretty bonkers Bash builds, I guess. The best one to use this for is definitely the minigun with the shredder, because when you empty fire with it, it just spins and fires instead of like not doing anything. So you don't actually hit B to bash with the minigun, you fire it and then it shreds. Which I guess sounds obvious, but this allows you to get passive criticals outside of VATS. So if you're not running like a passive criticals mod, this is really good with a VATS crit build. Early on, you can actually, the moment that you find a minigun with a shredder on it, you can kind of use this and just turn like your guns into melee weapons too, which is kind of nuts. But gun bashing just does so little damage that I just don't feel like it's worth it. I don't believe it's even affected by most of the things that affect melee weapons, like the sneak multipliers or like food items that boost melee damage. I don't even think strength affects your bash damage. I could be wrong though, but bashing is just not very. I don't think it's it, but it is viable. I'd say it's like in the same breath as like an unarmed build. It's like it's not impossible. You just gotta want to make it work, but that doesn't make it good. Rooted is like, I'm gonna say it's like A tier. I think Rooted is kind of underestimated. I think just being able to just stand there and have like 50 bonus armor is like pretty good. Like another thing to note is that Rooted affects VATS. So because you're technically standing still in VATS, this means that melee weapons in VATS just receive plus 50 damage for free with Rooted, which is pretty incredible. If you also plan on playing like a tanky gun build, this still has value since it can, I think, disarm melee attackers, which is very incredibly gimmicky, but I mean, Ricochet is a perk, so we'll take it. But yeah, melee VATS benefits incredibly from Rooted. I also believe this affects stacks with sneak crits and VATS. You can get some crazy high numbers with it. And like, I know that most people are harsh on perks that have very small numerical bonuses to your damage, but eventually, man, those enemies are going to have health pools. Any bonus damage is bonus damage. But I would specify that you're only going to use Rooted on like a melee build that uses VATS or like late game for a gun build. It's not very good otherwise. And it has way too high of a strength requirement. This is also the problem with Basher and Heavy Gun and Strong Back is it's just way too high strength requirement when strength is not that good per point. Pain Train? I mean, if you're going to use a melee build or like an unarmed build in power armor, you kind of want every little advantage. And this is also just really goofy and funny. I'm going to mention it when it's like applicable, but like I love the way Pain Train works. It's just one of those perks where it's just fun to use. Like there's no real arguing Pain Train as S tier for practicality because it requires like 10 strength, which is like wasted in power armor. It's like you have to upgrade it like 3 times and you have to be level 50 to get the most out of it, and like half the perk is like kind of useless, like the landing on enemies, but like dude, just running into an enemy and just sending them hurling is just like the funniest shit in the world. It's so awesome. When people talk up that Fallout 4 is the first game to make power armor feel like how power armor should, this perk is what I feel like you should be able to do with power armor from the outset. Like, this really should not be a perk. This should just be a mechanic. Or maybe, at best, this should be like an upgradable item on your power armor in the legs or something that lets you sprint faster and activate this. Like, It's really fun and goofy. I think Rooted is better though. I think Big Leagues is better and Heavy Guns are better, but maybe it's not a step up from this tier, but I feel like it is. That's Strength. So another thing I was gonna do is I made sure to include these. Is you can also take Strength training as a perk, and most people kind of don't really talk about whether or not any special stat perks, the special training perks, but I think it's worth talking about since you can use like a level perk on them anyways. I honestly feel like I think that Strength is honestly an F tier special perk. I feel like you would only take it to get to other perks in the tree. For most of the time. This is, however, changed when you do a melee build. In which case, I actually think that Strength is like... I'd say it's like S tier. It's gonna... That sounds really weird, but like... It does have a tangible effect on every build, which is carry weight. Even if I think it's sort of negligible, it still is an effect. And, what is it? It affects melee and unarmed attack damage. So each point of strength is 10% damage. So when you combine, I mean, just looking at what we have so far, right? You combine Blacksmith, which is usually going to give you like probably 10% damage from a mod, if not doubling your damage outright. Big Leagues, which is also doubling. Rooted, which is 50% damage. And then Strength, which if you raise it all the way to 10 is like 100% damage. You're getting like 500% damage sometimes. Not to mention the legendary effects your armor and weapons can have. So if you're doing like a melee build, Strength is almost in the long run like more important than like Big Leagues, because you can raise your Strength to 10 with your points and then start with Endurance, right? Which is kind of useful. You can also do this with Agility so that you have more VATS, because VATS makes you bulkier than having high Endurance at the start. And if you raise your Strength with your points instead of like getting the bobblehead or using the book, you can passively get your Strength higher later on by using your special exploit with, I believe it's Day Tripper, and getting the Mass Fusion bobblehead once your Strength is already at 10. So I honestly think it's more worthwhile than most other perks to raise your Strength with the training perk than to start out with it. Because you're not going to want to invest fully into most of your special stats at the start. And you start out strong enough. Like in terms of dealing damage, you start out strong enough, but this just means that passively over time your special gets higher, your Strength gets higher, and your damage gets higher. We're on to Perception, Pitpocket. Speedrun uses it. You're not speedrunning the game. I honestly think Pitpocket is F tier. You can technically put grenades and cow shops on people. You can also use a silenced weapon. You can steal caps. You are never going to run out of caps in this game. You can take unique items from people. Now that's a doozy. You can still just reverse Pitpocket clothes onto people that have higher armor damage threshold, whatever's, and get them to wear it, and then come back and steal it. But I guess there's an argument for that one. So this will go higher up in F tier whenever we get to the other F tier perks. But yeah, Pitpocket's ass. Comment about that one. Just tell me why I suck on that one. Rifleman, easy S tier. Easy S tier. Why can't I... Why isn't there a little bar over here I can use to... This sucks. Fine. We'll see all this too. Rifleman. Spoilers, I think that Rifle and Gunslinger are like competing for being the best like damage build, like weapon type. It really does just come down to those two. And I think everything else is like having to make an argument for being comparable. I think that there's only one other weapon perk that goes up in S tier. That's like a weapon type, the way that Rifleman is. Radium rifle, when fully maxed out, is just like a better combat rifle explicitly. It gets a ton of VATS shots. The handmade rifle is awful in VATS, but it's really good outside of VATS. You've got things like the lever action rifle, which if you can get a never ending is pretty incredible. Never ending double barrel. Did I mention that all shotguns are rifles by default? So there you go. Rifles are insane. Rifleman also lets you bypass armor resistance, which compared to like every other damage weapon type dealing in the game, I don't know what I just said. Compared to all the other weapon damage perks, that actually additionally boosts the damage of the perk effectively past 100%. So compared to everything else, which is getting 100% plus like some cool effects, you're actually going past 100% damage with this perk, just on its own. It combines really well with sniper. Rifles do pretty well in VATS. They cost more in general than pistols, but you can still make it work. But rifles are really, really strong if you want to go for manual aiming and sniping. So if you have stealth. And this is a Bethesda game, so stealth is, spoilers, S tier. Rifles are like just insanely strong. I actually think that rifles are strong enough that you don't necessarily need armor to make them work. They definitely help though. But I actually think Rifleman is going to go higher. It's really boring that just like 100 plus damage is the best perk in the game, but Rifleman is pretty nuts. Slap, it affects shotguns, so your damage gets up with them. And then if you want to stack Rifleman with Sniper, you can just put a scope on a shotgun, and with Demolition Expert Legendary, that's the best weapon in the game. It's like, it's boring though. Like, Rifleman is so strong, it makes certain builds boring. Unless you want to introduce mods that like make you level up slower so that it takes longer. That really is the kind of level we're talking about at how strong Rifleman is. Pretty nuts. What other weapons are good? The pipe weapons early on are honestly better as pistols and automatics. I'll give you that. So Rifleman has a very distinctly weak start because you start with pipe weapons and hunting rifles, which are pretty bad. I'll give you that. But even then, you get pipe rifles early on, and you're never going to run out of 308, 38, or 45. So that's that. And then from there, you get 45 really early, so whenever you can find a combat rifle, you're pretty much set for the whole game. You can upgrade from the combat rifle, but it's going to carry you like the whole game. What weapon was it that was just like nasty on Rifleman? The Gauss rifle. The Gauss rifle is like an actual cheat code weapon in VATS. You get 2 or 3 shots at it without much agility investment, so it's not practical. But I'm telling you, man, VATS like ignores the charge up time and gives you the full damage per shot. If you bank your criticals, you can get some nasty Gauss rifle shots off in VATS. Which combined with Grim Reaper Sprint might let you pull out a weaker rifle and then start chaining VATS again. Like, VATS or rifles are just nasty. I believe you can get the Tesla rifle very early. You can get the railway. There's like a guaranteed Gauss rifle reward in the railroad quest line. Shotguns are available early on. Plasma weapons are incredible. Plasma rifles are really strong. Righteous Authority is available early on, even though it's kind of dookie as a rifle, not gonna lie, but it is available really early. Yeah, Rifleman's incredible. It comes with its best potential. Granted, to get its best potential, you do have to get like science up, which is kind of a hassle depending on how you want to min-max. But again, this is a game where you can get every perk, so I don't think it's that much to ask for like 3 levels and then 4 ranks of science if you want to make your weapon as good as possible. I will say, however, that there are some weapons that are better as autos than as their semi-auto counterparts. I think that the assault rifle, for instance, is going to be the only weapon where it feels better as a auto rifle than a semi-auto rifle. So that's my only hot take. I guess we'll talk about that with Commando. Awareness? I think awareness by default just goes a tier higher than steady aim. way lower special requirement. Not to mention the fact that VATS, you can live inside VATS. Like, once you get to, like, level 40 or 50, you really can live inside VATS and just never manual fire again. It's really satisfying to get to that point with a weapon, but it's definitely possible. And the other benefits of VATS really outweigh just not aiming your weapon for steady aim. There's also the fact that it's only 2 perks instead of 3 perks to get the actual damage bonus. That being said, you can view steady aim and awareness as a combo to where you're always doing +5, but awareness objectively is not that good, but I think it's just because it affects accuracy too in VATS that it's A tier instead of like B tier. VATS is broken in this game. I did play it. Now, when I play it on PC now, I do edit it so that VATS pauses time instead of slowing it down. But even on console, like, VATS was really overpowered. Like, when I played this on PS4 with no DLC, VATS was overpowered. So, I don't think that that's that big of a deal. Locksmith. I'm trying to think of a single lock in the game where you have to have a level of Locksmith to actually get something that you can't get another way. Because any lock that can be picked, Kate can pick. Any lock that can be picked also probably has an alternate way to open it, or the reward isn't good. But I think it barely escapes F tier. So I haven't really talked about it yet, but when you play Fallout 4, you're either going to go for, like, playing until your character is overpowered and you get bored, or you're going to try and, like, get all good perks that you want, like level 120. If you're going for, like, intelligence 12, like, all sharp legendary effect armor, like, road goggles, Ushanka hat, like, maxing your, like, leveling up, then you're going to want to go for this because it gives you bonus experience every now and then. But every single, like, container you open is just going to be, like, it's just going to be, like, some 38 rounds and, like, pre-war money. Like, maybe a few bottle caps and, like, a gold or silver item. That's it. That broke my heart, man. Because I actually wanted to, like, invest into this. So, like, when I took around Kate for the first time, I was like, alright, maybe now that me and Kate can, like, unlock anything together, I'll see if, like, normally I should start taking Locksmith to, like, get better items early on. And, like, Master Open Safes, like, have the exact same reward tables that, like, Novice ones do. And it's like, at that point, what's even the point? There's no point. The like, reward from this, like, the in-game reward is awful, but, like, the experience is decent. Because there's a lot of locks out there. Demolition Expert, easy S tier. Demolition Expert stacks with the explosive legendary effect. That's why this is so good. It also stacks with Heavy Gunner for Missile Launcher and Fat Man. So, when you throw a grenade, it's Demolition Expert. When you shoot a shotgun that has the explosive effect, each single pellet, that's the explosive Demolition Expert. When you get the Spray and Pray, which is an automatic explosive legendary effect, that's Demolition Expert. When you shoot the Party Starter, that you can get at any point in Good Neighbor, as long as you have the caps, that does 50% damage on humans, and you can stack it with Heavy Gunner, that's Demolition Expert. The big boy that you get in Diamond City, that's Demolition Expert. It's such big damage. Spray and Pray actually makes the game boring. There's also the Kiloton Radiant Rifle, which can be made into an automatic. And, like, automatic Kiloton Rifle with, like, Demolition Expert just, like, demolishes the game. It's actually boring. It's so strong. Most people are also going to want to actually use grenades instead of just, like, using the explosive effect. So Demolition Expert is also just good for that. It makes it feel more like a shooter. There's not much complexity to this, though, because it's just good. Something else that also makes this perk marginally better. This is, like, really minor, but, I guess Epstein's in the news. You only need 4 ranks to get Demolition Expert really high. The way it maxed out. So, like, whereas Rifleman, Gunslinger, Commando, Heavy Gunner, Big Leagues, Iron Fist, they all take 5. For some reason, Demolition Expert only takes 4, which I think means it was really intended to be, like, a paired weapon type. Like, you're never supposed to focus on Demolition Expert. It's supposed to help you with other weapon types. So, like, taking Demolition Expert with a melee build can help compensate for a lot of its weaknesses. But yeah. Demolition Expert is nuts. I think it's the most nuts because of shotguns. Shotgun stack with Sniper and Commando. And Demolition Expert combining with those shotguns is nuts. I do think Armorer is slightly better, though. Night Person is going to be A tier 2. I think it's really underrated. Again, if you're going for like hyper high level plays where you go to like level 150, this is experience. You go to Outpost Zamanja. Is that how you say it? Is it Zamanja? When you wake up and smell that Zamanja. And you get an astoundingly awesome Tails there that gives you 5% bonus damage at night. So when you stack that with this, that means that you get, what, 3 times 3 is like 9% accuracy with VATS at night. Better lockpicking at night. You level up faster at night. You hack terminals easier at night. You get 30 plus health at night. And then you get 5 damage at night. So, like, again, it's pretty small, but when you start adding it with everything else, you know, like, awareness and Night Person with the astoundingly awesome Tails, you're aiming, like, what is that now, like 14% better, and you're doing 10% more damage. And in the late game, you're really going to want all those bonuses to add up. Not to mention, if you do Night Person with Armorer, you can just shadow your armor, and then you're just always as, like, stealthy as possible without any sneak, like, investment. While also getting leveling up faster for more perks, and then also more VATS accuracy. And slightly bulkier if you don't want to raise endurance, since you've already got the first 2 ranks of this. The only thing I hate about Night Person is actually the night effect, like the night eye effect. I use a mod to get rid of that night eye effect. I hate it. It's so hate. I don't like it. Refractor. Refractor's like C tier. Is it C tier? It might be low D tier, low B tier. Refractor is insanely hard to judge. It's directly competing with toughness, but it works on less things because you just always fight ballistic enemies. It takes way higher special investment of 7, and it still takes 5 ranks to get 50 bonus armor, which isn't insane. I honestly think that it's not worth it, and you should just take, like, it's better than this, but it just take the hits. Like, you fight like Brotherhood guys and Sense. That's it. Maybe Refractor is useful if you're like rushing Ballistic Weave and you want to fight those Sense at the switchboard, but even then, man, you've only got like 2 levels of this by the time you get to the Railroad and you get that quest, so like, I don't know. You also have to have 7 Perception, which if you're not doing like a weird min-max build, you're probably not going to have that high of Perception at the start of the game. All around, Refractor is pretty bad. I think once you have all 5 ranks of the perk, it's like useful, but getting there is a big ask. But if you plan on wearing like metal armor or ballistic weaving something like Kellogg's outfit, this becomes more useful. But that's worth noting, just like if you're going to use like a worse armor type than combat armor. But like, I love using Kellogg's outfit just because it looks so cool. I like to make my character wear Kellogg's outfit and the Miniman General hat. So you're relying like entirely on ballistic weave. So it is like B tier in that case, but that's like a weird self-imposed aesthetics thing. This is Sniper, which I think is gonna go like an A tier, if not S tier. It goes in S tier. You pair it with rifles, which are just the best weapon in the game. There's an astoundingly awesome magazine that makes it so that scoped weapons do 5% bonus damage, which can still stack with the astoundingly awfuls at night. So, if you're aiming at night in VATS, that's 15 damage now. Assuming you've stacked all of these, right? First rank of this has been useless on pretty much every build ever. You just don't run out of breath that easy. But the second rank makes it so that scoped weapons have a chance to knock down enemies. So even without making it like an explosive shotgun, each pellet now has a chance to ragdoll your enemy. So it's like more of a nerfed and stay back from New Vegas. It's crazy. But the final rank gives you 25% headshot accuracy in VATS. So that is a pretty substantial level. The only problem is scoped weapons automatically have a huge VATS cost. But, you know, you put a scope on that weapon, you give it that plus 5 damage. You aim in VATS, so you're also doing plus 5 damage. You're probably doing enough that you only need to hit them once or twice in the head. It's also a perception of 8, which means you're also probably going to be able to use these two effects with it. Penetrator, which is A tier, as it allows you to aim at any body part through cover and VATS. So cover is sort of arbitrary in this game. Sometimes things that are behind cover get hit and sometimes they don't, and sometimes it just depends. But in general, this just allows you to shoot through anything. This is most effective with critical hits, as you'll be able to aim at your opponent, and then as long as you have a 1% chance, you can guarantee your crit when you activate it. And Concentrated Fire, which is S tier. VATS is like the strongest way to play the game, and Concentrated Fire just like, it sort of removes the necessity to actually like hit your opponent. Like, as long as you can shoot 3 times and you've got, like, a 70% chance, you're gonna hit them. And, like, maybe you're using a weapon where all you need to do is hit the legendary effect, which is, like, critical based. Like, let's say it's freeze. Concentrated Fire means you can waste 2 shots and miss them, and then crit on the one that you do hit. And it just works. Another noteworthy thing with this is that Concentrated Fire means that from really long distances, you can build up your crit meter, and then while your AP recharges when you get closer to the opponent, it'll be built back up so you can just auto-activate your crit next turn. Concentrated Fire and Penetrator work really well in tandem with each other, because the first rank of this only lets you hit past it and it decreases the accuracy. If you take them both at the same time, I recently did a build where I got this at like level 1, you're able to just, like, basically bypass any enemy that's trying to, like, duck behind cover by just aiming at the torso and then queuing up 4 shots. It's bonkers how strong this works. And it's one of those things where it's like, I know some people don't like VATS, but this is just never something you're going to be able to do outside of VATS. Like, if an enemy is behind cover, you're just not hitting them if the cover is big enough. Whereas with VATS, you can literally just say no and just shoot them behind like a concrete wall. It's so dumb. Toughness, I'm gonna say this is like an A tier. I think the people like really dump on toughness, but it's no endurance investment, available from the first level of the game during your most fragile time of the game, and like 80% of the damage you take is ballistic damage. I don't see how any build takes advantage of toughness. You literally just need endurance and levels. That's it. This is like a level 2 perk that you should just like pretty much always take, because like the start of the game you're just so fragile that literally anything helps. And again, it requires no endurance investment, which is pretty good. I forgot to go over perception. I think that perception is kind of hard to raise early on. Here, you go back down. Go up. I don't think it's worth it to invest fully into perception early on. It can be fun if you're doing like a weird min-max build, but otherwise you should probably just raise it when you need the perk. But it does have a tangible effect of VATS accuracy, so we'll put it in A tier. But yeah, toughness is just like always good. It's good because you get it early when you need it. The reason this is an A tier and Refractor is like bordering on F tier is because of the fact that Refractor requires 7 perception, and it takes longer to get each individual rank than it does toughness. Literally level to level, it takes more levels to get the perks in Refractor, which is crazy. Lead Belly is straight up F tier. It's definitely worse than Pit Pocket. You don't need this. There's literally so much purified water that I've actually started keeping it in like the ice cooler outside the Red Rocket. And so far the highest amount of purified water I've stockpiled is 250. Just and I'm always carrying and using water, and I never drop below like 30 purified water. It's crazy how much water you can accumulate in this game with like no effort. All you have to do is just build one water purifier somewhere. That's it. Just like one. Just one. And you're set for the whole game. It's pretty ridiculous. As far as food concerns, yeah, at the very start, maybe you're gonna have to eat some pre-war food. And then, you know, maybe every now and then you'll run out of the food you carry on you and you'll have to like eat something on your way back to your home to get more. But like, bro, you got Radaway. You got Rad X. You got Mutant Hound Chops. You've got the Sunshine Tidings Co-op Wasteland Survival Guide. You don't need this. I don't know why this is 3 ranks to you. It's 3 ranks, and all it does is remove radiation when you eat food. It's absolutely ass. Personally, the best idea is I feel like rank 1 should be the full remove radiation effect, and then rank 2 should just remove the ability to catch disease from drinking water, like dirty water, like pond water, and like raw foods. And then like maybe we'd be having a discussion here, you know? Like maybe it'd be C tier. But like nah. Another thing to consider is why the fuck are you eating your raw meat in the first place? Like, if you cook your meat, you get experience. You know what I mean, dog? Like, what universe is Lead Belly useful in? Life Giver is like A tier. This is really weird, and this is like the nerdiest, one of the nerdier calcs I'm going to bring out for this list, but your endurance gives you retroactive bonuses when you invest into it at about the level 100 plus mark, and each point of endurance is worth more than 1 rank of Life Giver because of the retroactive level bonuses. So if you leave your endurance at like 1 for like the entire game, and then at like level 100 you start raising your endurance, endurance is then better than Life Giver, but until then Life Giver is better. So it depends. If you want to raise your endurance to 2, get the bobblehead, and then raise it to 3 for this, that's useful the entire game. Otherwise, it's kind of more worth it to like delay your endurance, because you'll get mostly marginal benefits for most of the game, and then raise it later on and get your like health up to like 1,000. The best case for Life Giver though is actually the final rank, which passively regens your health, just like that one Astoundingly Awesome Tail. This isn't that useful, but it basically means when you fast travel, you heal, which is pretty good. On survival, you'll take any boost to health you can get. You'll take any bulk you can get. Healing without using up your resources on survival is good because it helps you like lower your weight management. So yeah, I think Life Giver is A tier. This, what is this one? I can't tell by the picture. Chem resistant. I don't know. Addiction is not really that bad. The problem really is that you have to be the level 20 to get the second rank, and by that point you've probably got access to a doctor that can just cure you whenever you get addicted, so like then it loses its usefulness. Whereas early on you might take those chems to make you bulkier and then get addicted, so this doesn't really help you early. Whereas the actual effect is helpful by the point that you've got Diamond City or Dr. Carrington or Vault 80, is it 81? Vault 81. But some of the strongest builds, of course, do use chems. I don't think I can put this any lower than B. It'll be at the top of B. Personally, my benchmark for a build is that I never ever want to use chems, just because they're inconvenient. And I always just keep chems around to like bypass level difference in areas that are hard leveled. Like, if you get the mission to go to Jamaica Plain early, I'll use chems to try and overpower that area or something. or like the satellite array for the Lost Patrol. But like in general, I really avoid using chems because it's not fun. But yeah, chems also do give you some crazy... I mean, this is more like chemist, right? This is just a convenience perk. But being able to not be addicted to chems is good effect, because chems do... Like I said, you stack like this and this and this, and then chems, you can get some crazy stacks going. Aqua Boy, so like non-survival, this is actually F tier. Survival, this is like B tier. It's like strong back level. But I'm gonna point out a niche for it that we are going to talk about also with Rad Resistant, because they're gonna go side by side. So normally these two are kind of bad perks, but I think that there's a specific niche for exactly these two perks. One of the companions is Hancock, and when you reach max affinity with him, he gives you the perk Isodoped. If you're planning on using a VATS critical build, which is one of the strongest builds in the game, then you can combine Isodoped with whatever your other critical luck things are, and you can get like 2-shot filling up your crit meter kind of levels of luck. Now, normally managing rads is very easy even on survival, but once you get Hancock's perk, you're going to want to stay at 250 rads to get the effects of Isodoped. But because of that, you can't really wait until you're at like 500 rads to use a rad away. That's half your health, and you'll die in like a few hits no matter what you're facing with that little health. So with a combination of perks like Rad Resistant and Aqua Girl, or Aqua Boy, whichever, it doesn't matter, and Mutant Hound Chops with the Wasteland Survival Guide from Sunshine Tidings Co-op, you can get a pretty manageable system where you just, every time you get over, on your little rad counter on your Pip-Boy, every time you get over like 300 for sure, you take a Mutant Hound Chop, and you manage it, micromanage it like that. And this will help you because it means that all the tiny little areas you go into, like bodies of water and stuff, are just harmless. It means that whenever you come across those random barrels in the overworld that are just going to dose you with like 20 rads out of nowhere, it's going to be like probably more close to 5. And these all are negligible bonuses, but when you try to like min-max with Isodoped, these are very useful for that. But that's like super niche. That's like niche enough that I'm going to put it like with like these two. Yeah, Iron Fist is probably better. I don't know where Iron Fist goes. Probably better than these two, though. But that is a tangible effect. Rank 2 of Aqua Boy, though, is always F tier. This is Adamantium Skeleton, which just makes it so that sometimes your limbs don't break, and then at the final rank, your limbs never break. It's like B tier. It's like it's kind of cool. If you're playing in like vanilla survival, this is like probably A tier. Because Stimpaks suck ass in survival, so basically never even needing Stimpaks in survival would be kind of cool. But, I don't know. It's like convenience. Cannibal is actually actively detrimental. Like, how about we make like a D tier and then call it detrimental? D for detrimental. Did I spell it right? Yeah. And we'll make it pink. Yeah, Cannibal sucks. It actually actively harms your playthrough. it's kind of crazy, but you take it because it's fun to take. It's like Fortune Finder, you know. You take it for that rank 4, but yeah, Cannibal sucks. It basically makes you an addict, and you have to get cured over and over every time you eat a corpse on survival mode. It's like awful. Ghoulish is like, God, it's like the king of convenience perks. It's good. You know what? It does eventually eliminate the challenge of rads in general. So it's going to go below Rad Resistant because I think Isodoped is better, but The convenience of just never having to have pass like rads ever, except for like high rad areas, is pretty nice. Um, so if I'm to understand how it works, the first few ranks means that like let's say that you're in an area where you're taking like 1 rad per second and you're like 25% health. Or actually, yeah, let's just say you have 40% health and you have no rads and you go into a rad area with like like the smallest rad per second. If I'm to understand it, your health would meet in the middle with it by the time that it ranked low enough to get to like 30% rads. So it's like sort of got like a niche before rank 4, and then rank 4 is just useful. But like rank 4 endurance, like what, 9? Ugh. I don't know, Chief. Solar powered is like A tier. Bonus health during the day, bonus endurance during the day, which is more bonus health. You regenerate health in the sunlight, which stacks with Life Giver and the astoundingly awesome tail. Bonus melee damage during the day, which Big Leagues is A tier. The only problem is it's conditional during the day. And I feel like all 3 ranks of Night Person plus damage at night is better. But with this, you do get more bonus damage during the day because of the strength than the night. So for a melee build, this is better during the day than be at night. But for ranged builds, I think nighttime is better. Especially stealth-based builds. Endurance is like a S tier as a like level up perk. Like any build ever wants to be able to level up their endurance at like level 80 and just start getting massive health pool rewards. And it's amazing that you can level up your endurance later on in the game, because like early on, most of these perks do not do much of anything at their first rank. Endurance in particular has really weirdly gimped first rank perks, like Adamantium Skeleton and Cannibal and Ghoulish. Whereas like level later on, just raising your endurance gives you so much health that it like you don't even need the secondary effects of the perks in the tree. It's like actually kind of ridiculous. Cap Collector is F tier. It is Cap Collector, right? Does Cap Collector give you access to like any shops or something? What does this do? Higher ranks doubles the aptitude of both and grants the ability to invest some of 500 caps. Okay, that's still worthless. Rank 1 and 2 worthless. No, it's for stores, built-in settlements, taking rank 3 to be able to invest. Applies to all instances and all tiers. However, bear in mind that these caps are shared, so there are only 500 caps to be obtained from each settlement shop time. Okay, yeah, it's worthless. Money is not important in this game. If it is, there's more than enough money going around. Cap Collector, it'd be like toughness early on. You take it to make the early game easier, and that's it. Maybe you're doing like an automatic weapon build and you're trying to rush Spray and Pray. But there's just enough in Sanctuary, you don't need this shit. Just go get Spray and Pray. Black Widow. It is more damage on humans, and you fight humans pretty much more than anything else. This makes like gunner commandos, or is it captains, or is it generals? I don't know what the different names mean. The ones that level at like 90s and that level with you are made way easier because of Black Widow. It like is additional damage at some point. With a charisma of 3 and rank 3 of Black Widow, I can pretty commonly pass yellow checks, sometimes pass like the darker checks, and then very rarely pass red checks. So even with no sharp legendary effects, you passively get better speech checks with this, and you do better damage against things like gunners and like power armor raiders. I personally use a mod that makes Black Widow apply to both genders since there isn't an alternative perk. But Black Widow is definitely better than Lady Killer, for sure. I feel like there's more men that you fight than women. This isn't New Vegas, though, so either one is still where it is, but I think Black Widow is slightly better. Just because I feel like there are more men to pass dialogue checks with. There's also more important dialogue checks to pass with men, it feels like McDonough, or whatever for the main story. I mean, that's like easy one, but it just feels like there's generally easier or more important checks to pass with men. I believe most of the important checks in Far Harbor are also with men that are like tougher. I could be wrong, but I feel like Dima and Tectus are harder to pass checks with than Avery. I'm trying to think, but either way, getting 15% damage on like all gunners on either gunner type, male or woman, is male or female, man or woman, boy or girl, is still something. And like early on, this gets you better experience passing checks, better rewards passing checks. It's still useful. It's not S tier, but Lone Wanderer is S tier. I don't think this is really up for discussion. For some reason, people that hate Lone Wanderer are like really against it. But Lone Wanderer is so strong it'll actually warp the way you play the game. I like explicitly had to go out of my way to like install a mod that gives you Lone Wanderer with humanoid companions so that I would start trying the human companions. Like 100 pounds, so it's better than strong back. LOL. 25% damage, so it's better than Black Widow. It's better than awareness. 25%, so it's actually comparable to Rooted. It's like that's actually more damage than solar powered. It's better than steady aim, and then like what 25 AP, so that's better than like an individual point of agility. That's better than 2 points of agility. That's better than rapid reloads agility bonus. You know what I mean? And then what 30% less damage, which at almost any point in the game is just strictly better than all ranks of toughness and refractor combined, and rad resistant. It's nuts that Lone Wanderer is so absurdly powerful. I actually think it's a poorly designed perk. Like, your companions are strong in this game. They're not weak, but these bonuses are simply too much to give up just so that you can have Kate with you because you like her. Like, it's actually poorly designed because it actually incentivizes you to play this way instead of choosing based on what you prefer. Especially on survival, 30% flat damage reduction is just fucking insane for survival. It actually makes you able to tank outside of power armor. I literally got to like level 100 using Lone Wanderer, and then I did the main quest and switched to traveling with Nick, and it literally made me weak enough that random scents were giving me trouble. When before I was like fighting Nuka World and Far Harbor enemies. That's like the level we're talking about that Lone Wanderer impacts gameplay. It's nuts. Never mind the fact that all these bonuses stack with Dogmeat, who can also further reduce your damage taken. So not only do you get all these bonuses, you still get Dogmeat. Dogmeat gives you his own perk, which makes you better in VATS, which we've talked about as being very good. Makes him actually useful as a companion instead of just being there for Lone Wanderer. And also makes you bulkier, because you take less damage with him. And on top of that, Dogmeat can still be affected by Inspirational. Yeah, Lone Wanderer is S tier. I don't think it's the best, because I think a good Rifleman build doesn't need Lone Wanderer, but 25% damage just for not having a companion, like, good lord. Yeah, this perk does everything you want it to do. Better than Concentrated Fire. Better than Sniper. Yeah. I think Attack Dog is like scratching the surface of S tier. I think the problem is, no, you know what? It's S tier. Because it depends on, you have to have 4 Charisma, which means you can also get Lone Wanderer. There's never a case where you can have Attack Dog without Lone Wanderer, so it's S tier. Yeah, 10% damage reduction in survival is crazy. With the 2 ranks in the middle, Dogmeat becomes an actual fighting companion instead of just a diversionary tactic. And with the first rank, he helps you with VATS, which I've already said VATS is really strong. Dogmeat is also very cute. I like traveling with Dogmeat. And again, you can get Inspirational and further boost Dogmeat. Not to mention, Dogmeat has his own specific companion magazine in the Institute, which makes him even better, I think. And then you can also get the bonuses of things like the Live and Learn that lets you get more experience traveling with a companion. And the Live and Learns that affect companions affect Dogmeat and you without triggering Lone Wanderer not to work. It's like an insane nasty duo. Animal Friend? Is this the intimidation one? Yeah. These all sound very cool. But if you can pacify an animal, you can probably kill it. Animals. What animals are actually tough in this game? Like what? Yao Guai? Yeah. Just kill them, bruh. These are perks you take because you think they're cool. And I'm not saying that in a dismissive way. There are definitely perks I take just because I think they're cool. Even if awareness did only the first rank, I would still probably take it because I think it's cool. But if it was only the first rank, awareness would be in like F tier. Right? So don't think I'm like discouraging it. It's like cool, but just shoot your enemies. Although apparently you can fucking grind on death claws like dragons, which is actually the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I really am emphasizing, like, they're not bad perks, like, in that sense. I just don't think they're mechanically good. What is this, local leader? I don't understand fully how this works because I don't engage with settlements building. That sounds like the king of convenience perks. Party Girl. Party Girl is like the definition of like gimmicky shit that could possibly be like S tier, but is probably not even B tier, but we're gonna put it in A tier. Party Girl gives you 3 luck when you drink alcohol. No, it takes away the penalties for drinking alcohol, so no addiction, no minus intelligence, I believe. It doubles the duration of alcohol after that. And then it gives you 3 luck when you take alcohol. Let's see if I got it. No addiction, effects doubled. Yeah, I got it! Alright. So this has some of the craziest potential on not only VATS builds, like if you stack this with Isodoped, like we went over, specifically melee. You can build something with Moot Fruit, Whiskey, and I think Dirty Water? Or is it Purified Water, called Dirty Wastelander. And when you take it with Party Girl, you get like... What is it? You get like plus 6 strength, plus 3 luck. So if you're doing like an Iron Fist build in particular, and then you drink this, where are the melee perks? Where did I put the melee perks? We need to move these. So if you take it with like a melee or an Iron Fist build, then you're getting like your crit meter filled up, assuming you have like a luck of 10, that's 13. Which with the luck bobblehead could be 14, and then you get like a passive strength of like what? 10, bobblehead, you're special. What is it? Plus 2 from solar powered, so that's 15. That's 21, and then you can also have armor effects, which gives you like 25 strength. So you can get some insane damage output with Party Girl. It is mostly a weird gimmick strategy thing that you're not actually going to actually do, but you know, in theory it has a really big number, so we'll put it pretty high. This also stacks with the... Is it an Astoundingly Awesome or a Live and Learn? You get it outside the Revere Beach Station, and it gives you plus 1 luck with alcohol, so that's 4. 4 luck. 4 luck and 6 strength for a melee build. So if you're doing crits, like Iron Fist, or just VATS in general with crits, that's pretty insane for melee. What is this one? The inspirational. Yeah, inspirational is S tier. Not only does it stack with dog meat, which is pretty epic, giving a big thumbs up. This works with normal companions, and one of the effects specifically is that they cannot do damage to you. Am I right? Cannot hurt you. Yeah, so the reason that this is S tier is because you can give any companion a fat man, and they can't hurt you. It's so cheap. It's so dumb. I can't stress enough how lazy this is, but you can give any companion, like, cryo grenades, and fat men, and, like, missile launchers. You could give, like, strong, like, party starter and as many missiles as he can carry, and then he can just, like, kill anyone. It's so lazy. You can also make it so companions can't be hurt by you. You can carry more items. LOL. So yeah, you can just use, like, Fat Man. Like, you can tell Dogmeat to go chase an enemy and then shoot, like, a missile launcher at him. And he just comes out of the smoke. It's like in Dragon Ball when someone gets hit with, like, the big-ass ki blast and they just come out, like, smirking. It's just, like, Dogmeat in the perfect cell pose. Yeah, inspirational is fucking crazy. I've been playing with companions, like I said, since I started trying it with Lone Wanderer. I've got to say that Kate is probably the most useful humanoid companion for the lockpicking thing, but in terms of combat, Preston, Dance, there was someone else that was really helpful in combat, but I can't remember who. Oh, Codsworth early on. So, yeah. If you're using enemies that use ranged weapons too, this is also nice because they can occasionally shoot you in the back and it sucks. But yeah, this is really useful. The first rank is really useful for cheesing enemies by giving your companions rocket launchers. And then the second rank is nice for, like, melee-focused companions like Dogmeat and Strong or Ada that are just gonna rush in and fight the enemy barefisted. So you don't have to worry about, like, perforatoring through Strong as he's trying to, like, rip someone's head off and then downing your own companion. This happened a lot with Deacon. Deacon and Preston are really squishy early on. And I just kept, like, penetrating through them to get the enemy, and they just kept going down. It was really goofy. Is there really a timer on this? I kind of want to skip this now that I realize which song is playing. They're, like, way more defensive about Fist Bump and the Sonic Forces soundtrack because they did well with Sonic Mania and that made them bolder. Dude, I gotta pee. It's been like an hour already. It's because I'm drinking a Monster, dude. That always makes me need to pee. It's a diuretic. Lois. Diuretic. Alright, where are we at? Okay, now we can rank Charisma. Charisma's pretty bad. It passively affects the number of settlers you can have, speech checks. That's it, dog. It's like, it's not detrimental. It's like kind of bad though. I don't think most of the high level perks are worth it except for explicitly inspirational. This is being overly generous to Party Girl because you're not actually going to lug around like 40 dirty wastelanders to do this. Vans? Vans is not there. Vans is B tier. Yeah, I said it. I think Vans gets a little too much hate. Yeah, the first rank is like F tier. I'm not denying it. I'm not trying to hide it nor deny it. I'm you. But Vans is not as bad. It's not that bad. Come on, guys. If you're doing a VATS build, you want as much accuracy as possible. It's like rank 30, so you're never taking this early. You're taking it if you're doing like a level 100 plus build. And you'll eventually take it, and it's like, cool. Stack it with like Night Person, and you can just start auto headshotting enemies. You want every bit as much accuracy as possible, because even with Concentrated Fire, which like kind of breaks the way you play the game, Concentrated Fire means that like with 3 shots you can guarantee kill someone and then move on to the next person in VATS. Which like, when you start stacking these like micro buffs like Awareness and Vans and Night Person with stuff like Gun Fu, it starts really getting out of control. But I'm not going to even try and justify rank 1. I hate rank 1. I'm half tempted to like install a mod that makes it so you don't have to put 2 points in advance to get the second rank, because it really is like trash that you have to actually use that first rank. It actually pisses me off a little bit. Intelligence. So we're on medic. Medic's like high B tier. On survival mode, medic's like necessary to get like rank 4, where Stimpaks heal like they do in normal mode. But the other ranks of this are actually kind of bad, I feel like. Maybe not. I mean, it's objectively good, right? Because you like heal as you get damaged, but like in survival mode, I don't know, man. I feel like outside of survival mode, you have infinite Stimpaks anyway, so it doesn't matter. In survival mode, they heal too slowly either way, so it's not important that they heal a huge amount. It's important that you stack them with other things. Gosh, I don't know. But I mean, it's not a bad effect at all. And you can get the first rank, which just boosts Stimpaks to 40 and Radaway to 40, like at the very start of the game. So that rank at least is like a toughness convenience kind of thing. Like pretty much any build is going to get medic. Even if you dumped a 1 for Savant, you're probably going to pick up the bobblehead. So pretty much any build can get medic too. So, but I just don't know. I don't fully see the benefit of it. I've heard that in rank 4 of medic and survival, if you don't do like mods or whatever, is like the perfect amount to like start a battle, inject a Stimpak, and then tank through the fight. Which like you're level 50 anyways by that point, so I could see that. Gun Nut is S tier because armor is S tier. I don't think it's the best in S tier though. You don't get that many great effects from most Gun Nut mods. Most of it's just like straight damage increase, like better recoil. But you can also do things like stub your weapons to make them better in VATS. Give them stub barrels. You can do things like suppress all your weapons basically, which just makes them stack with Mr. Sandman and VATS. You can make it so that you have more ammo capacity and you reload quicker. Which, another cool thing is that you're allowed to do large mag, quick eject, or both. Which means that once you get like the second rank of Scrounger, or the final rank of Scrounger, you can actually reduce your ammo capacity to take advantage of Scrounger. And go back to quick eject, which is kind of cool. It won't come up too often, but it is very cool. Hacker is just strictly worse than like Locksmith. Where's Locksmith? Yeah, less terminals to pick. Terminals are less useful. You've got Valentine, just like with Locksmith. It's bad. But if you're trying to go to like level like 200 or whatever, it's experience. So, I don't know what else to say. It's really bad. What is this? This is 5. So this is Scrapper. Scrapper's like a convenience perk. It's like okay. You get more than enough just like steel from scrapping things to make caltrops, but it is, I mean, it's cool that while you also get steel, you'll get things like circuits and gears and all that. But like if you know what to pick up, this is like worthless. It's like a convenience perk. Being this high is generous, but it is how it is. Science is S tier. Science allows you to affect the plasma and laser weapons, like how you can Gun Nut. Plasma being, in general, one of the best weapons in the game, no matter how you choose to make it, whether it's a scattergun or a pistol or a sniper rifle or an automatic. Plasma just tends to be the best. You need Science to affect the radium rifle, which is probably the best semi-auto in the game. Probably the best auto in the game. Because it has stacks with nuclear physicists for like consistent 100 damage autos even before modifications. Science allows you to affect your power armor. It allows you to build things around the settlement better, like I think higher grade purified water things if you care about that. It just lets you do a bunch of cool shit in general. I think Science also has... No, it's Medic. Medic has one of the only skill checks in the game in Far Harbor. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, King of B tier for sure. It has one speech check. Science... But yeah, Science allows you to upgrade, like, I think the Gamma Gun, which is pretty good for pistols. The Righteous Authority early on, which is one of the best early weapons you're ever going to get. The Plasma Rifle, which is a consistent late game option. It's going to let you custify your power armor, which power armor is really strong. Even if it's tedious, it's really strong. But yeah. Compared to talking about the investment cost of high skills for every other perk, intelligence, I'm going to assume you want high intelligence. So, Chemist is S tier. So Chemist is like one of those ones that I had a really tough time coming to grips with. I don't know if I can call it S tier or not, but I think I'm going to. Depending on your IRL luck, so like not your luck stat, but like how lucky you are as an actual person, you can just go the entire game without ever needing to craft antibiotics. Like, from the time it takes you to start the game and then go to Diamond City or find Dr. Carrington or Vault 81, you can just find all the antibiotics you need. But if you just get unlucky, you're going to have to start making them. Chemist also allows you to craft poison caltrops, which are better than normal caltrops for making money and earning experience. It allows you to craft refreshing beverage, which is better Radaway and better Addictol. It allows you to craft stim packs. It allows you to craft glowing blood packs, which are better than Rad-X and stim packs early on. It allows you to craft Radaway, allows you to craft, did I say stim packs? And then I believe it also allows you to craft the entry level of drugs, so things like Overdrive, which gives you 25% damage, and passive criticals, which is really nuts. It allows you to craft like Jet Fuel and Fury, all the really good stuff. I believe Ultra Jet. Yeah, Chemist is awesome. And it extends how long chems last for, which I would argue is a better effect than being immune to the effects like of drawback and addiction. Where did I put rank 1 of Chemist? We're going to move it up. I think it's like A tier. But yeah, these effects I would say are much stronger than resisting addiction, but they pair together, so they can't be too far apart. But yeah, Chemist is A tier for all those reasons. This would be Robotics Expert. This allows you to craft some of the strongest companions in the game. However, it is worth noting that you have to invest into crafting robot companions pretty heavily. They take a lot of resources. You have to do Automatron, you have to start it to get access to it, which enabling Rust Devil encounters is kind of double-edged. You get like a lot of experience from them, but they're really annoying. But your robot companions you can make are stronger than anything you can recruit. The only problem is you can't have Lone Wanderer with companions, like robot companions. So I feel like it's like top of A tier. You can build robot companions that like eliminate the need to be this strong, but I just kind of think it's better because you get this from the start of the game. You don't have to do anything weird for it other than just use dog meat, which a lot of people prefer anyways. Nuclear Physicist is going to be like S tier. Extending your fusion core time is good because in survival mode they weigh like 5 pounds. They weigh 4, but I mean, damn. Outside of that, it's convenience. They also affect radiation weapons. So the Kiloton rifle, which is an automatic radium rifle, I believe, has explosive damage and radiation damage. So you get the base damage of being like, what, 70 something? Then you can boost the explosive damage to 30 as Demolition Expert, and then you can also get the radiation damage to 100. Another cool thing about radiation damage is I believe the way it works is because it caps out their max health. It's really good against legendary enemies. That's niche, but early on, if you manage to get like an irradiated pipe pistol, you can actually invest into the first rank of this, and the weapon will do 75 by default, which means that if you're still in that like 20 to 30 damage range, it'll actually add like 50 damage to your weapon. Because reducing the max health by 75 on top of the damage you did is more than the initial damage. So it essentially gives you like a 50 to 75 power pistol at the very start of the game, if you get lucky, and you have the intelligence to race into this. But fusion cores lasting longer is just cool when you use things like jetpacks. That's really the meat and potatoes of it. Oh, and ejecting your fusion cores like grenades stacks with Demolition Expert. LOL. You know what? S tier. I think it's S tier. Nerd Rage is like the martyr effect, but like kind of better. It just takes up a perk slot instead of an armor slot. I don't know. It's like B tier. Getting health back from it sounds cool, but that's like level 50. You don't need it at that point. Intelligence. I'm gonna say intelligence is F tier to raise. That's gonna sound really strange, but it's specifically as a level up perk. I think intelligence is one of the better stats in the game, but if you want to level up your intelligence, you really need to do that first and then level up other skills. The amount of intelligence you have determines the XP you get, so leveling up intelligence as a perk in the level up instead of at character select is like, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just like wasting your own time. It's just really bad to do it that way. So specifically for leveling up, it's really bad to do this unless you want to do it just for perks. But, nah. Gunslinger is like neck and neck with Rifleman. Gunslinger is way better in VATS because you have a guaranteed drop of Deliverer and Kellogg's Pistol, which are not hard to get. Not too hard to get at all. The Gainer is also available really early on, in case you don't want to do Kellogg, because that takes a while and sort of progresses the story in certain ways. But the Deliverer is super easy to get. I've rushed the Deliverer in like 2 hours. The Deliverer holds up the entire game. Really insane. VATS is really crazy with Deliverer. You can get some crazy chains going, like stuff with Gun Fu. The Deliverer is also silenced by default, which means it benefits from Mr. Sandman if you want to do a stealth build. Doing that mission also gets you access to Deacon, so you can get Cloak and Dagger really quickly too after getting the Deliverer just by having Deacon in your party. And not even doing anything, he'll just like you. It's pretty crazy how good Gunslinger is. I feel like it's marginally better because of the VATS aspect than Rifleman, but I do think individually the shotguns just make Rifleman too strong, especially with Sniper. But you can get some crazy concentrated fire builds with Deliverer, like without your enemy ever detecting you. You can literally just queue up concentrated fire chains and just kill enemies over and over and get Grim Reaper Sprint to trigger so that you can just stay in VATS permanently with all the little micro buffs you can do. It also means that you, weirdly enough, don't actually have to be that bulky because you can live inside of VATS. And you take so little damage in VATS that you're like just permanently bulky. It's weird how it works, but Gunslinger is nuts. The 10 mil you get from the start of the game is really incredible too. Even if you don't want to go and do like Deliverer, you get the 10 mil like really early and it's really strong compared to like the pipe weapons. Not to mention you're going to find a shit ton of pipe weapons, and because all pipe rifles can be made into pistols, you're probably going to get a good legendary pipe weapon. Like I would say most builds are going to find a good legendary pipe pistol. Legendary Pipe Bolt makes use of the 308, which means that you can just kind of pick those bullets up whenever you find them because they're sort of common, and then just use them. Like, if you ever run out of ammo for your main weapons or you want to conserve it, just switch to the 308. Pipe Revolver's decent. It kind of falls off, but early on it uses 45, which, like, not every pistol does. Something. But yeah, you'll never run out of ammo for your pipe pistol early on too, which is just nice. That's really convenient. Deliver and Kellogg combination keeps you in VATS forever. Just stub your Kellogg pistol, and then if you get Nuka World, add the little basher attachment. what are those things called? Bayonets. Add a bayonet. And add a reflex sight. And there you go. You're in VATS forever. Personally, I much prefer to do a VATS pistol build, but I can't deny that, like, fully upgraded manual aiming with the kiloton rifle, or just how convenient the combat rifle is the whole game, or the Gauss rifle, are just slightly better. And especially shotguns. Explosive shotguns are just nuts. I think that this is better for stealth build, because weapons like the Gauss rifle get way better sneak crits than you can get with pistols, and the Gauss rifle can be suppressed, and you can also suppress shotguns. So the like super crazy explosive demolition expert 30 explosive pellet damage from a like combat shotgun can then be suppressed and stacked with sneak criticals. And sniper. It's so ridiculous how many things you can stack onto a shotgun. Commando. Commando is really bad. Probably like better than heavy gunner marginally. I don't fuck with it. I get it, but this game just doesn't understand how to balance out between DPS and damage. This is a Fallout 4 video, so I need to compare it to New Vegas. In New Vegas, when you get something like a fully upgraded assault carbine, the DPS is like 300. Like, the DPS is insane. Whereas, you can't get that same DPS on most, like, manual weapons, right? Like a marksman carbine then does, like, way higher. Does, like, marginally higher because it's still semi-auto. So you get similar DPS off those. Whereas the hunting rifle distinctly has, like, almost 100 damage clean per shot. If not past that once you get your perks and stuff, right? So there's a distinct offset there. Really weak individual shots, which means it's way worse against armor, versus really high damage shots, but you shoot way slower and you're vulnerable. Whereas in this game, just use a semi-auto and rapid press. You waste less ammo and do more damage. There's like not ever a situation where it's better to use a semi-auto weapon as an auto. Except for explosive. Spray and pray is nuts. The submachine gun is like the worst weapon in the game. Like one of the worst weapons in the game for like ballistic damage. But if you add spray and pray, it becomes one of the best. That's how powerful explosive commando is. But that's like kind of explosive carrying it, whereas explosive also works on like shotguns for riflemen and sniper. And even to an extent, if you get like an explosive pistol, you're probably going to be able to make use of it if it's a semi-auto. Like an explosive 10mm pistol would probably be pretty good. Even if it wasn't necessarily an automatic, you could still probably just rapid fire it, like hair trigger it, and there you go. Commando feels much more useful as like a secondary perk if you just want to pick up all the 38 ammo you find and use like pipe weapons with like big leagues, because there are enemies you just are not going to be able to fight with melee weapons. So having like being able to just pick up all the weapons, all the ammo you find for like one automatic and just spray and pray with it when you can't bash things is kind of good. But yeah, you waste a lot of ammo. I also think the additional benefits aren't as good as Rifleman, and it's not as conducive with VATS as Gunslinger is either. I did really enjoy which one was it? There was one commando weapon I really liked using, but I can't remember what it was. The assault rifle. The assault rifle is goated in commando. The assault rifle is like the best feeling weapon to use. It's not good. It's like way worse than the combat rifle. But it like barely has any recoil. It's like pinpoint accurate. It's silenced. It's just like everything you want. Maximum drum magazine. Like instant reload. I would build another commando build just to use the assault rifle. And you get a guaranteed spawn in National Training Guard. So you can just run in and grab it and run. Like literally, you can just run in and then dip and then lead the ghouls over to like County Crossing. Assault rifle is what really makes it. Why won't my leg stop shaking? I shouldn't have drank that monster. You can make a really insane assault rifle build. And in my opinion, like using an assault rifle and then like a 10 mil pistol auto is probably the way to go with Commando. Like an explosive assault rifle and I don't know, like VATS enhanced relentless 10 mil. But the kiloton radium rifle is like the best weapon in the game for explosives because it's like a way better spray and pray. But like kiloton is like so strong to the point to where it's kind of boring. I also think the kiloton is still slightly better, just as like manual aim rifle and putting a scope on it. Oh, actually, you know what? Where did I put steady aim? Steady aim is going to boost up. Because steady aim kind of helps compensate for weapons that you want to apply the sniper benefits to, but you don't want to actually try and aim through a scope. I don't like aiming through scopes at mid-range, so it's kind of nice to be able to attach steady aim to like rifles and stuff to make them more accurate. I guess that's a use for this. We're trying to be generous to all the perks. This is Sneak. Yeah, Sneak's S tier. Mr. Sandman. This is one of those A tier, like, marginal damage boosts. You can get up to 1.5 extra sneak damage on any silenced weapon, so suppressors. This works with, like, the combat shotgun. This works with, like, an auto assault rifle. This works with, like, semi-auto rifleman, kiloton radium rifle. This works with, like, deliverer. I think because of this, you can get higher crits on sneaks than you can for criticals through VATS. Especially with Deacon. Because this gives you almost an extra double damage with Deacon. So. Action Girl, it's okay. It's like B tier. Like I said, once you get Kellogg's Pistol, you live inside VATS and you don't need this. Also, Kate's perk is actually more powerful than this. And you get it without investing perk points. So, it's kind of hard to say. But it does help you get those initial few points back really quickly so you can immediately crit with Kellogg's Pistol and then get back into VATS. So it's not C tier, but it's B tier. This is Action Girl. Sorry, I haven't been saying the names. I've been sort of assuming that you know since you clicked on a video about Fallout 4 perks. Moving Target. Moving Target is like B tier. It's like worse than VATS fans, I would say. It ensures that whether you're standing still or moving, you're bulkier. It's sort of like the steady aim awareness combo, but for being bulky. And that's not nothing. You know? If you're playing on survival mode and you're like dead set against using ballistic weave power armor or power armor, then you're probably going to want this. I don't know. If you're not willing to like use the rest of the stuff in the game, you might want this perk. Ninja's S tier. Sneak is S tier. Armorer is S tier. Armorer gives you muffled. Armorer gives you shadowed. Sniper is S tier. Sniper, suppressors, rifleman, gunslinger, suppressors, ninja, sneak attack. Big damage. Ninja also peculiarly works on melee weapons. So even though getting a melee weapon sneak crit is going to be harder until you get Blitz, it changes your modifier to 10 times. Which on top of all of the other crazy boosts you can do with melee, gives you like comparable weapon to like Fatman. Like sneak crits. It's kind of insane how high you can get your sneak crit damage to with melee weapons. Rapid reload. Or I'm sorry, I think it's quick hands in this game. First rank makes you reload weapons quicker. The second rank makes it no cost in VATS. And the third rank gives you 10 action points. So if you invest 3 ranks into this perk, you get the same action points as 1 point of agility. If you're hyper min-maxing, this is like Vans, but it also provides tangible benefits on rank 1 and 2. Rank 2 is distinctly the weakest, but rank 1 is pretty strong and you can get it immediately if your agility is that high. I don't think your agility should ever be that high at the start of the game unless you're doing like a melee build, in which case this is worthless. But the third rank helps any VATS build, so I would put this in A tier. That's Fortune Finder. So this is Gunfu. This is Blitz. Blitz is like A tier. So here's the thing, right? I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to rank Blitz fairly because I misunderstood what the perk did when I picked it. See, when you aim at at an enemy in VATS, you always have a chance to hit them with a gun. Even if it's like 1%, as long as you can clearly see them on the screen, you have a chance. I thought Blitz at rank 2 meant that you could like warp across the map to an enemy. But that's not how Blitz works. Blitz like just effectively doubles and then doubles again your distance. So like you have like about 5 feet around you can hit enemies in VATS. So I think with rank 1 it's like 10 or 15. And then at rank 2, it's like I'd say like 20 or 30 feet. It's certainly powerful, but if you allow yourself to think it's gonna be like you see someone in Sanctuary from Red Rocket and you have and you can just see them and target them in VATS, so you can just warp over and hit them. That's not how it works. That's why I thought it was going to be like an S plus tier perk, but it's just kind of okay. It works really well with the VATS for sneak crits. Because you can sneak up on an enemy and then get within blitz distance, so you don't actually have to sneak all the way up on them, because while you're in VATS, you're still undetected. So it works really well with with Ninja for stealth builds. But that's for melee builds, not gun builds. Gunfu. Gunfu on a pistol build is S tier. The first rank makes it so that you do 25% damage to your second target. The second rank makes it so that you do 50% damage to your third target and beyond. And the third rank makes you do an auto crit against your fourth target and beyond. Now, considering how crazy you can get your VATS and your targets, your crits, this is an insane perk. Combine this with things like Concentrated Fire, Vans, Night Person, Awareness, Quick Hands. You've got to have 10 agility to have it in the first place. Gunslinger, the fact that Deliverer is a pistol and affected by VATS. You can get some insane turns where if you're fighting like a group of gunners like at high level, and especially things like Critical Banker, so like there's an enemy close to you, so like boom in the chest. There's an enemy a little bit away, so Concentrated Fire 2 and you guarantee the chest. There's a third target, he's too far away, so you crit him, and then you go around the map and you just target each one in the head since it's an auto crit. Gunfu leads to some of the craziest VAT sequences you can create in the game if you have the agility for Gunfu and you have luck perks. It's like really strong, but you also need a lot of requirements to pull it off. Whereas something like Lone Wanderer is good because it's just on its own. Because of that, I'm not quite sure whether or not to put this in S tier or like high A tier. I almost feel like it's S minus. It's distinctly the worst perk in S tier right now, but it also has like one of those things where it has like an insane amount of requirements, but at like level 120, you can go to Nuka World and like wipe out entire groups of like the pack because of this. It's crazy what you can get away with Gunfu and Deliverer. It's really nutty. Fortune Finder is like, it's better Cap Collector. I gotta clarify. Oh, okay. You know what? We didn't do that. Agility. Agility is a much better level up perk because you don't really want to start with a high agility. You would actually rather invest into it as you level up, I think, to get the tangible effect, sort of like perception or strength and endurance. But you really get your agility super high for like the specific perks. Because, like, with the combination of Ultralight and Cunning, or VATS Reduced, or Deliverer, you don't really need a high agility anyways to pull off VATS. Especially with Luck, which we're going to get to. Okay. Fortune Finder is, like, bad. It's, like, really bad. It's got a tangibly strong effect. And, you know, there's, like, an argument to be made that if you're just trying to get money, it's probably better than Cap Collector, because caps are weightless. So you pick up the caps as you go, and then you don't even have to worry about selling them to anyone. You just pick them up, and you're just richer. I also love rank 4 of Cap Collector. or Fortune Finder, it is so fun to kill an enemy and then hear that little and then watch the little effect on screen. It fills my head with those little dopamine feelings. That being said, it's probably pretty bad. Scrounger is like marginally better than Fortune Finder. There's like an argument to be made about which one is better. If you're thinking like, well, actually, you can sell Scrounger bullets for ammo, so then no, just pick up the weightless ammo, just pick up the weightless caps. But Scrounger also has an effect to where if it's the ammo type you're going to use, which, by the way, both of these perks don't work how you would think they would. I guess I need to actually bring them up. They don't. So the description says, what does it say? Increased chance to find ammunition. So you would think that this would mean that when you find ammo, you get a bigger pull of it. Like, let's say that you find a missile. Instead of 1 missile, it would be like 5. Or let's say you find those boxes that have 4 fusion cores, maybe it's 8 or 10. You know? But that's not how it works. It injects these types of ammos into the loot list. So if you plan on using like the Deliverer, Kellogg's pistol, an assault rifle, a plasma weapon, 308 combat rifle, spray and pray, shotguns, fusion cells, righteous authority, minigun, or Gauss rifle. This can be nice as a convenience perk so that you never ever have to buy those types of ammo. And you can just alternate between whatever pools of ammo you assemble. But you can just buy ammo. I hate to be that way about it. The last effect is kind of neat. Rank 4, you manage to get ammo in your clip. Which has potential. If you're going to use something like the double barrel shotgun, rank 2 is kind of incredible. You gain a chance to get 2 rounds of ammo every 2 rounds you shoot. That's pretty cool. If you're going to use something like the bolt action or the 44 revolver, you get a chance every 6 shots. That's still pretty cool. I think this works with missile launchers and Fat Men. So you have a 1-to-1 shot of just infinite chaining ammo, which is pretty crazy. Other than that, it's not that useful with most types, because you're just going to burn through them. I specifically did on my like level 150 build, I did get Scrounger, and then actually nerf my Deliverer from large quick eject to quick eject, so that in more VAT sequences, it would reload. So I'd have a higher chance of getting ammo back. That was kind of a neat interaction. I think overall Scrounger's like the best convenience perk, because of all those factors, but Scrounger's like, okay, just buy ammo, man. Just buy ammo, man. It's not that hard. This is like a perk you take if you want to roleplay and pretend, or you use like difficulty mods that make things more expensive somehow. It's like, come on, bro, just buy your ammo. It's not that hard. Bloody Mess, I mean, people hate this, but it's bonus damage flat. Fucking a missile launcher, a shotgun, a pistol, your bare fists, power armor, super sledges. It's just raw damage. For free. You have to have like luck 3, which like luck 3 is not that hard to get, bro. You probably have luck 5 for something else we're gonna talk about. So, yeah, it's just free damage. Stacks with anything. And rank 4 is actually pretty cool. Rank 4 is kind of inconsistent. It doesn't trigger often, but when it does, cool. It's fun. It's like that dopamine rush you get from like Fortune Finder, but it's like not as often. It's stronger when it does happen though, so I mean that's cool. Interestingly enough, the little like chain explosion effect can actually trigger on you, and you'll go like ugh, but then nothing happens. It's really goofy. If anyone wants to mod rank 4 effects into New Vegas, please call it Spaghetti Western. Please name that the perk. But yeah, just flat bonus damage. This is a perk that you would take like in your 50s or 60s, so yeah, I don't think you should rush Bloody Mess, because it's a small tangible effect, but it stacks with everything as you keep getting more effects. Mysterious Stranger. It's not F tier. It's like comparable to these three, where it's not directly helping you in combat sometimes. It's more like maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. You know, do you have any weapons on you? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, you know? You can sort of view the Mysterious Stranger as like vast insurance. Like, if you don't manage to kill whatever target you're shooting at with all your other crazy perks, you've sort of got this as like a get out of jail free card sometimes. But there's two problems with this. For one, Mysterious Stranger like never shows up at rank 1. How many ranks are there of this? There's 4, right? 3 in vanilla and 1 in Nuka World. Appears more often, critical meter higher for crew. Okay. So yeah, rank 1, I've like never gotten the Mysterious Stranger to proc. He really does not like showing up. Rank 2 is also fairly high level, right? 22 is pretty decently high level for what it is. So like at 22, you're not really investing in like insurance perks anymore. You're going for like perks you've already invested into. After rank 2, he does start showing up like pretty consistently if you're not killing your targets, but by level 20, you're probably killing your targets and that's right. And then the critical effect is kind of nice, but again, like Grim Reaper spread. So the other problem with him is that he does a flat 1,000 damage, and eventually enemies start having a lot more than 1,000 health. So this just means that like level 100, if you miss an enemy and then the Mysterious Stranger comes out, he can just not kill them. It's like, what the fuck? The critical fill meter also depends on him killing the enemy. So if he comes out and doesn't kill the enemy, you have 0 chance of getting your crit meter filled. So as insurance, he still sucks. Again, I want to emphasize though, Mysterious Stranger is like a fortune finder to me. I love this perk. They sort of fixed it to where it doesn't bug out and like crash your game anymore, so that's nice at least. It has 1 victory over New Vegas. The Mysterious Stranger no longer crashes your game. Idiot Savant S tier. Leveling up is like probably the strongest way to go. I've recently started dabbling into like slow experience builds, and I think that if you want to do the whole game, it's much funner to do this because your progression gets weaker. But like, you can get stronger for like 150 levels in this game. You're always getting stronger every time you take a perk. You want to take perks as often as possible. The more perks you get, the stronger you are. Now eventually your damage output caps, but then you start investing into bulk. You can't get any more damage, so you go for endurance. You can't get any more endurance, so you go for charisma to buff your companions. You can't get any more stuff to do that, and then you start investing in like convenience perks. You know? Now rank 1 of Idiot Savant is worthless. It wouldn't be worth lowering your intelligence at all. Rank 2 of Idiot Savant with 1 intelligence is marginally better than 10 intelligence. Believe it or not. There's actually a calc done on this on Reddit. Rank 3 of Idiot Savant is broken. On survival mode, you get double experience for killing enemies. With this, the experience you get for killing enemies is multiplied by 3. Idiot Savant rank 3 triggers anytime Idiot Savant triggers. What this means is, if you pick up enough items to just make tons of caltrops inside of like an enemy base or whatever, every time you find a crafting station and make caltrops, trigger Idiot Savant rank 2, you get the 5 times experience for the craft, then that triggers rank 3. Use Critical Banker, all the crits you've saved up, and enemy experience times 2 for survival times 3 is 6 for Idiot Savant rank 3. So you can level up pretty much like multiple times in an hour, even in the 80s with Idiot Savant rank 3. It's crazy how strong this effect is. And that's with like max intelligence. Like intelligence of like passively like 16 with Idiot Savant is still a boon. You'll still trigger it if you plan to play long game. And if you're playing long game, you want as many perks as possible. So Idiot Savant is like top tier. Just from the very start of the game, it's just boosting your experience gain. You probably want a high luck anyway, since we're getting into the really good perks. I'm going to put this below the Lone Wanderer perks. But yeah, Idiot Savant's top tier. There's like a calc that technically says that rank 2, without accounting for rank 3, is like detrimental until level 100. You're probably going to go past level 100, and rank 3 is actually better before level 100 than high intelligence. Especially on survival. Better crits, S tier. Where should I put this? Better crits does not affect your sneak attack crits. They made a change in this game to where sneak attacks have their own damage multipliers, and critical hits and VATs have their own multipliers. I do think that conditionally I do think that crits are just better than sneak crits, but I think that the ceiling for sneak crits is slightly better because of Deacon and Mr. Sandman. But yeah. You can just get some insane crits. Your crit damage can go crazy. Especially when you stack this with things like calibrated receivers. Generally, a calibrated receiver is like 10 to 20% weaker than the powerful version, which means that it's actually like 30% stronger most of the time with a crit. And that's before you start stacking critical multipliers. Critical Bankers is S tier. I already described how it works with Idiot Savant, but another way to think about Critical Banker is so you can bank up 5 crits maximum. Think about Concentrated Fire, right? So, let's say that you're targeting someone that is through a wall, so Penetrator, but you've got Concentrated Fire, wherever I put it. I don't know where I put it. There it is. And you've got 5 crits banked up, and you've started about 50 accuracy. You can crit, 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 and then you're at 95, so you don't need to crit anymore. And you start building your crit meter back up. You can do some insane stuff with this. And this also, Crit Banker, works with Gun Fu. Where did I put Gun Fu? It works with Gun Fu. Because assuming that you have 4 plus targets, and you have 3 banked critical hits, that's crit, 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 auto crit. You don't even have to use your story crits. It's disgusting what Critical Banker lets you do. Not to mention, Crit Banker works really well with Kellogg's Pistol, so that you have a banked up critical hit always to restore your action points, and get back into VATs to keep filling up your crits again. Grim Reaper Sprint is also S tier. I think that the first rank is really bad. It like never procs. The second rank is okay, and the third rank like almost consistently chain procs. Without even using Kellogg's Pistol, Grim Reaper Sprint can sometimes keep you in VATs for like an entire fight. And when you consider that it refills all your action points, that refills the amount of times that you can start chaining up Concentrated Fire and Penetrator and Gun Fu. And that you can save up more and more criticals to use Kellogg's Pistol to get you back in VATs. It's disgusting. Bloody Mess is like worse than these 3. 4-Leaf Clover is the worst of the critical perks for sure, but it's still tangibly powerful. So one way to think about it is that if you have a passive luck of like 10 or 11, it's probably going to take you 4 shots to fill up VATs. But realistically, that means all of those 4 shots have a chance of filling up your VATs instantly. There are diminishing returns with each rank of this, but even the first rank is just like S tier. Like, it almost gets stronger the lower your luck is. Which you can't get it that low because it's 9. But even if you only ever raised your luck to 9, this perk almost compensates for that by just giving you a chance to autofill. It's pretty crazy. When you combine this with things like Kellogg's Pistol, because even on crits, your crit meter can fill up, so like Kellogg's Pistol refills you. Then you use Concentrated Fire to start building up your crits again, and then you use those critical hits that you banked up through 4-Leaf Clover to hit someone through Penetrator. You just get in this insane lock, where you just keep doing this over and over, and it's crazy. Ricochet. Oh no, bruh. We had to go over all the really good ones. Ricochet is like C tier. It's like, you know what? Actually, I think Ricochet is borderline F tier. It's like slightly worse than Refractor. Ricochet just gives you a chance to block any enemy bullet, and it'll go back and kill them. I'm gonna tell you something, G. I took this like on day 4 of one playthrough that I played for like 7 days, and I saw it proc like twice. I took all 3 ranks of it, and I saw it proc like twice. It doesn't proc. Filling your crit meter is good, because that just means passively you have something that might fill your crit meter, but it's really not gonna happen, bruh. It's not gonna happen. It's bad. It's really bad. Luck is also really worth raising, though. I'd put it like with agility and perception. So yeah, that's where I would put endurance. That's where I'd put strength. That's where I'd put perception, agility, luck, charisma, and intelligence. And then this is the rest of them. Alright, I gotta go pee, bruh. Bye. Oh, that's right. They're on the other screen this time. Yeah. Can I put yeah. I'll see you guys later.